that we still have some way to go to reach the Ghana we want. 3 years ago, when I first stood before you, I said, and I quote, "I was not elected by the overwhelming majority of the Ghanaian people to complain. I was elected to get things done. I was elected to fix what is broken, and my government and I are determined to do just that." Unquote. Mr. Speaker, we have done just that. We have fixed the broken economy. We have delivered free senior high school education. We have brought the National Health Insurance System scheme back to life. We have revamped our agriculture. We have sanitized the banking sector. Our industrial transformation is on. We are digitizing the economy. And Ghana continues to be at peace. We have done much more than we inherited. We are creating conditions for young people to have hope again. And we are determined to do more. Things are working in Ghana. And Ghana is surely changing. Mr. Speaker, the message of the state of the nation is that our nation is in good health and in good, competent hands. May God bless us all in our homeland, Ghana, and make her great and strong. I thank you for your attention. Mr. Speaker, my party and I know the nature of the task before us on the 7th of December, and that is to occupy all DC. That's our task.
All right, so those are live from Parliament. We've been following the President's State of the Nation address delivery, which started at 10:47. We're through at 12:41. You're live on the Joy News channel, on your multi-TV, and also on your digital TV. We're on Joy 99.7 FM. My name is Gifty Andopia, and I am here. Actually, 12:15. I beg your pardon. 12:15. 12:14 was when he finished. It is 12:15 at the moment. 12:14. Let's go to Parliament and hear some sounds for you, and then we'll come back and have a conversation. Well, earlier I wanted you to listen to some song they were singing. The members of Parliament there were singing. We'll take you back there. We understand that the Speaker is on the floor. The President has finished the delivery of the State of the Nation address. As and when the Speaker speaks, we'll bring you there. But I'll take your general assessment, Mr. Banson. It's been a very long moment in Parliament with the minority heckling with the anthem, and then they subsequently leave the House. And then, you know, their printed papers were destroyed. The majority leaders move to fill in their seats. I'll take your thoughts, but the Speaker is speaking right.
On behalf of the entire House, I wish to congratulate His Excellency, the President, for his wonderful address. We pray that the good Lord will oblige all his wishes, including the latest one he made of full occupation of this honorable House. Honorable members, in accordance with Standing Order 58, I wish to convey to His Excellency, the President, of our continuing support for all good works. And I seize the opportunity to once more appreciate the presence of the armed forces of the Republic who have given us security this morning, as well as other security agencies and our own internal security, for all the services they have ensured the smooth success of this function. We also wish to acknowledge at this juncture the presence of the former Chief Justice of the Republic, Her Lordship, Mrs. Georgina Wood. We have a number of senior ministers and top officials who we claim to be one of our own, including the Honorable Senior Minister, Honorable Osafo Mafu, the Honorable Cecilia Dapar, the Honorable Gifty Kusi, Honorable Natoshi Ado, Honorable Sam Okujeto, Honorable Kwacho Kwote, and Honorable Kandapa. And definitely, not the least, Honorable U.T. Banson. Honorable members, again and in accordance with our practice, a formal communication will be sent to His Excellency the President after the House has debated his message. The full date on the message will commence on a date determined by the Business Committee of this Honorable House. At this juncture, may I ask the Honorable Majority Leader, Leader of the House, and Minister of Government Business, to give us any further indication.
Speaker, Article 67 of the 1992 Republican Constitution provides for the President to deliver to the Republic a message on the state of the nation. Speaker, as we all do know, Article 34, Sub 2 provides the ingredients of the menu to be served. Today, the President of the Republic has done what is required and indeed provided much more information. Speaker, it is instructive to note that this House today has witnessed one of the most dignified atmospheres for the delivery of the message, the state of the nation in recent times. Mr. Speaker, serenity, tranquility, worthy of the dignity of the House has prevailed. And I believe those with discerning spirits, Mr. Speaker, would understand why the dignity of the House has not been assailed today. Mr. Speaker, the practice of this House is to stand down the debate. on the President's message. And indeed, the Business Committee meeting this morning has programmed the debate to commence on Tuesday next week. It will span 1 week, and the ensuing week, Tuesday, the leaders of the House would wind up the debate. Mr. Speaker, the House is made up of two sides. Today, I see two sides. And the sides who heard the President would participate in the debate. The Speaker, listening to the House, to the President's message, I believe is not confined to the House. Those who are everywhere who heard, who would want to engage in the debate will be welcome. Mr. Speaker, having discharged this responsibility today and in conformity with practice, the House would normally adjourn to say of the President. But that duty, Mr. Speaker, is in the charge of the Speakership. But if you invite me, Mr. Speaker, I would want to accordingly move that the House stands adjourned, having listened to His Excellency until tomorrow, 10 o'clock in the forenoon. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Who seconds the motion?
Mr. Speaker, I beg to second the motion every moved by the majority leader and the leader of the House that the House stands adjourned to tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the forenoon. I so move. Second the motion. Thank you.
Honorable members, the motion for adjournment has been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. And this Honorable House will start adjourned till tomorrow, 10 o'clock in the forenoon. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, honorable members.
President Akufo-Addo there, ready to make his way out of Parliament. The State of the Nation address indeed has been delivered, it's over, and the national anthem is being played once again. So just so you know, what's been happening in Parliament is that the President has been delivering the State of the Nation address, and before that there was the national anthem that ended with the minority repeating the part that says, "Help us to resist oppressors' rule," about 3 times before they then walked out of Parliament, leaving behind their printed papers that has the various grievances that they have against the government. Those papers were subsequently removed. They moved out, the majority members of Parliament moved in to fill the seats that they had left, and then the program started. President Akufo-Addo has just finished. He talked about the year of return first. We went on to talk about Ghana's foreign relations. He talked about the economy, the financial sector, and we'll go into details of all of those things. And then he talks about peace in the northern part of Ghana, what his government has done about it. He spoke about the security agencies in the country and how his government is supporting them. And then he spoke about Galamsey, which is going to be one of the biggest topics of discussion after this. He also talked about corruption, not too much details there. He talked about the Zongo Development Fund, went to talk about sanitation, and then agriculture. If you're watching, you will see the president shaking hands and exchanging pleasantries just on his way out. He talked about the fishing sector as well, then mining, bauxite, etc. He talked about Dumso, 1 district, 1 factory. He went on to bring in education. This time we didn't hear too much about the free SHS, but certainly some details there as well. He talked about sports. He went on to talk about roads, about health, and then about creative arts, and then he brings in the ambulances. He goes on and on. I still have here in the studio Mr. Banson, who's helping us with some of the analysis, his own thoughts. What is your state of the nation? You want to share that with us on our social media platforms? Go to Facebook, and also you can send us a WhatsApp message on 0540-109009. MFR Powell will be here in the studio to read for us what you've been sending us as far as what your own state of the nation is. Daniel Dazi is on the ground. We'll be joining him also shortly to tell us what it is like there in Parliament. Well, what did the minority members of Parliament go to do? Did they go to sit in their offices to watch on TV? Or were they watching, were they listening to radio to follow? How are they even going to be a part of the debates that will follow? Let me come to you, Mr. Banson. What jumps at you generally so far?
Well, as expected, the president seemed to have touched on all the trending issues in the economy as a date, or in the country as a date. I noticed that the issues that were not very comfortable for him or for his political party, they did not go into details. They made a blank statement on that. For instance, when it comes to the Galamsey issue, he did not touch on specifically on the missing excavators. He only said that those who have been involved in any illegality, the law will take its course, irrespective of your political affiliation, which it's a good statement, but it's, from the experience and the background before the happening, we would have expected a little bit more.
What did you say? Because I have here my notes that I took when the president was speaking, and I put a subject and then I write what I want to write. If I look at all that I've written, in fact, Galamsey took a lot of my paper.
Yes.
So he actually said a lot, but it looks as if he decided to focus more on the problem and dealing with the problem rather than dealing with the excavators, which has been the most thorny part of this conversation so far.
Yes.
Wouldn't you say that is a progressive thing to do?
Well, and that is where he threw a jab that the NDC has given up. Those were his words, or had given up on the fight against Galamsey, which I don't think is a very fair statement, because we saw this interministerial task force was in existence during, I think it was Honorable Fuseni's time, and they also did Inis of Fuseni before they left. But be that as it may, he started by saying that the interministerial committee had worked very hard.
Just to interrupt you again. So when the president said this morning, I was listening to Sami Uku on radio, on the Super Morning Show. He indicated that the NDC had given up, and he linked that to a story on myjoyonline.com that had been done back then, where Mahama Yariga had indicated that government, there was a story something to the effect that government, says we can't deal with this anymore. So I think that's what he was referring to. I am very sure that's what he was referring to back then. But please go on and
very
we'll
well.
Go to Daniel.
I think that he touched on what they have done in terms of integrating the youth that were previously engaged in this illegal activity, and I'm very happy to have heard that. If that is actually the situation on the ground, then I think that the NPP government deserves some applause in respect of that. And we all hope, like I have said, that Galamsey is not a fight for the NPP or the NDC. It's a fight to save Ghana. And so if any party has decided to put in a lot of effort to do that, I think that they deserve a bit more of congratulations. Okay. And I was happy you also called on the media coalition to continue, to continue
Let's
their
just
fight.
put the pause button on this one. I'll come back and then we'll talk about the Galamsey a bit more. But I'd like for us to go to Parliament, and it'll be interesting to find out what the minority was doing when they moved out. Daniel Dazi is standing by with one of the minority members of Parliament. Let's listen.
We'll highlight all of those in less than 30 minutes at 1 p.m. on the 7th floor. I will not take the wind out of the sails. But hearing some of the things that we are hearing from the House, we hear the president saying that he hopes to have Parliament like this after the elections. Is the president interested in a one-party state? This vindicates our position that the president is not a Democrat. He's not interested in free, fair elections. The president wants an electoral register that is going to suppress voters' rights in this country so he can have a one-party state in Parliament.
In the first place, the president
is not a Democrat. He's a despot. He's a tyrant. He doesn't listen to the people who put him in power. But ultimately, the power of the people is greater than the people in power.
In the first place, the president said that, in just a second, the president said that he would like his house, his side of the house, to occupy all the seats. He wants to have as many people from the MPP as possible. And also, it's interesting you mentioned the EC voters register. When this is within the purview of the Electoral Commission, why pin this on the president?
I'm sure you heard the president also say that people should go out and register. If it's within the purview of the Electoral Commission and the president has no stake, why is the president campaigning for one side? The president cannot approbate and reprobate. The president is not a man of integrity when it comes to the Electoral Commission register. You can't trust the president. You don't trust him. I don't trust him. Ghanaians don't trust him.
Well, you can't speak for me,
We'll see you at 1 p.m.
Thank you very much for joining us. Sam George, the Member of Parliament for Ningo Pram Pram. Sam George just explained that there will be a news conference at 1 p.m. where the minority side of the House will be articulating their reasons exactly for walking out of Parliament. I've been joined by the Deputy Majority Whip, Matthew Nyendam, who is Member of Parliament for Kwandai. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us.
Thank you, my brother.
The minority staged their walkout on the president. They say, I just spoke with Mr. Sam George, who says that the president is not in support of democracy. He called him a tyrant and a despot. What do you say to this?
Well, let me use this opportunity to congratulate the president, to tell him he's done a yeoman's job. He has fulfilled his constitutional obligation, and we are fully supporting him. He has taken it from archaeology to zoology, and we are looking at the achievements so far that this government has chalked. But with regards to the minorities walkout, I think they've done themselves so much damage, and they haven't done their constituents any good, because they have no reason, absolutely no reason, to walk out from the president. Because where is their morals? Sometimes don't let us disgrace our leadership. If the whole minority leader joins the majority leader to walk in the president into the chamber, only for them to walk out for no reason, I think that it is an embarrassment. And like we indicated, we're never going to allow them to debate the state of the nation, because they have no moral right to debate. They have not done this country any good.
You will not allow them to debate the state of the nation address?
We didn't allow them, because you cannot walk out from the president, you wouldn't listen to the president, and you want to debate the state of the nation. What moral rights do you have? It is an indictment, it is a disgrace, and I must let them know that, look, they have lost it all.
Is it not their constitutional right, and for the constituents that they represent, they would want their representatives to forward their arguments during that debate?
You must have a good reason why you want to walk out. Walkout is part of parliamentary proceedings. There must be a good reason. You don't just walk out because you want to walk out. What is their reason? My brother, you see, we are building this country together. It is not for NDC, it is not for MPP. It is Ghana. And for that matter, when we all have to come together as Ghanaians, let's demonstrate it. Let's demonstrate it. Because there's no reason. They have no reason.
So how exactly are you going to stop them from debating it?
Because
are you going to stop them from entering the House?
They will enter the chamber, and we will not allow them to debate. Because,
How?
Because when we finish debating from our side, the next person who is going to debate will be from our side. Because we will not let the speaker give them the opportunity to debate, because you were not part.
It's the speaker who calls people to speak. I just don't understand how exactly you're going to stop someone from getting up to speak.
You will get to understand. From Tuesday, you will get to understand, because at leadership level, this debate was supposed to start on Tuesday. And anytime the majority gets the opportunity, the minority also get opportunity. But in this case, they decided they will not take part. How do you say you won't take part in the state of a nation and you will want to debate it? How are you going to debate it?
So this is a decision the majority has taken.
I'm telling you that this is the decision, and so shall it be.
Right, Mr. Nyendam, the president did deliver the State of the Nation address after all. What are your thoughts on some of the views that were espoused and some of the facts put out by the president?
Well, I think, like the president said, we came to this scene by promising the people of this country, giving them our manifesto, telling them that we'll come and this is what we're going to do. And like I said, he's taking it from archaeology to zoology. He's talking about the free secondary school education, which was one of our prominent manifesto promises to the people of this country, and we have delivered. He's talking about the planting for food and jobs. He's talking about the economic indicators, where we inherited an economy that was growing at 3.4, 3.9 averagely, and today we are doing no less than 7% in growth. And we've talked about inflation. We've talked about the year of rose. Like he rightly said, talking about year of rose doesn't mean that
previously we were not doing something. But it is a special attention that this year we're going to give to road development.
The Sino Hydro facility, which is supposed to be the fuel for this year of growth, we are not seeing the road projects being rolled out at the pace that we would have liked. The Tamale Interchange Facility project was commissioned months ago. Where are the rest of the projects?
Yes, if it's done on phases. The phase 1 was the Tamale Interchange and some other components that will also be rolled out very soon. But the year of roads is not depending mainly on the Sino Hydro. No, I'm sure if you look at the component of the Eurobond, some portions are going into road development, and all the critical roads that we identified. If you move in now, most of the roads contractors are on site, and one is the Salaga Panda Road, one is the Bimbila Salaga Road, and I can tell you that across the country, all these roads are given special attention, and so shall it be. You realize that the president did not take much time to mention the roads in all. He just selected a few that are so important to all of us, and this is what the president is talking about. We are doing well, and I can say so far so very good. We are doing well.
Right, thank you very much, Mr. Matthew Nyindam. He is a member of parliament for Pandai. He's also a whip for the majority side. He makes a very emphatic statement saying that the majority will not allow the minority to debate the State of the Nation address. I've been joined by the Deputy Northern Region Minister, the Deputy Northeast Minister. Pardon me, you used to be Deputy Northern Region Minister. You are now Northeast Minister. Solomon Boa, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, my brother.
Are you aware of this decision by the majority that you will not allow the minority to debate the State of the Nation address?
It doesn't even make moral sense for the minority to become a citizen. They want to be part of the debate. Okay. I'll come back. You decided that you won't give respect to a constitutional provision. Very immoral. Because this is something that is a constitutional imperative. You are the president. In fact, he's not the president, he's not an MPP president. He's the president of the nation. He has come. If you have any concerns, the best way, even though boycott is one of the things that you have to do, it is not in situations of this that you do and attract sympathy of the public. The court of public opinion, I can tell you, are condemning what they have done, and they will continue to condemn it. And I can tell you that on the 7th of December 2020, they will be very emphatic in their condemnation as far as their behavior is concerned, because this is the 4th State of the Nation address before the major election that is on our hands. Then your people want to listen to you, your people want you to participate, then you go on this trajectory.
They say they were representing the will of their constituents. They say it is because of their people that they decided to walk out. And besides, what they did is not illegal.
I have told you that I have not said that it is illegal. I am saying that if I were them, look, these laws are not cast. The laws are laws, but there are instances where you have to inject your own reasonability into it to be able to make a meaning out of it. And if I were them, I would never have gone on this tangent, because I can tell you that the backlash on them, the backlash on the minority will haunt them up to the election period. Back my way.
Now, since you are so passionate about the law, which part of the law empowers a side of parliament to prevent the other side from taking part in a debate on behalf of their constituents?
No, I've just told you that the best place they can debate is to go on radio. They back it on the wall. That is the best place that they want to go and run their propaganda. Because you decided that you won't sit down and listen to the State of the Nation that's presented by the president. So they've not listened to the president. What are they going to be debating about?
Now, the question is not about what they can or they cannot. The question is about what the Constitution mandates them to do. And the Constitution does not mandate any side of the House to stop the other from taking part in a debate.
My brother, the matter is very simple. I've just told you that they don't have the moral right to even sit and say that they want to be part of this debate. The matter is very simple. If you were the one, if you were the speaker, where will you even have the moral aptitude to even say that I'll call somebody from the minority side? With all this disrespect that they've shown to the speaker? The speaker is supposed to be an independent person. He's the one controlling the House. This is what they've decided to do in the House. So the speaker has the right to do what he wants to do. And I'm saying that this is very shameful. This is condemnable. It will continue to be condemned by every Tom, Dick, and Harry. I can tell you that most of their constituents are not happy with what they have done. Because I have received a lot of calls from NDC faithfuls who are saying that why have they put us to this shame?
Right.
Thank you. So it's not a good thing. And I'm telling that they have to apologize to this country. They should apologize to the president. They should apologize to the speaker. They should apologize to the majority leader and everybody from the majority side before we can even they can even think of being allowed to be part of this debate.
Solomon Boa, Northeast Region Minister, thank you very much.
But I have to use this opportunity to thank the president for being very focused. This is a very focused president, especially this year that he has declared a year of rules. He indicated that last year was year of return, and people saw the magnitude of the people who came into the country. This is a year of rules. If you go to everywhere, look, visit my constituency, for example. The march talked about Bunkrugu-Nalegu Road since 1992 has been the nagging issue. Today it's a thing of the past. I want to use the opportunity to thank the president, the Wulugu President Road, the Nalegu-Buntiri Road, so many of them.
Right, Mr.
I don't know, this pageant is just too much.
Right, Mr. Boa, thank you. Thank you very much. He's Northeast Region Minister.
Thank you.
I'm now here with the Minister for Communications, Ursula Owusu-Ekufo. Madam Minister, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us here. We meet again this morning. We're together on radio. The minority staged a walkout. Your reaction?
Responsibility to the constituents who voted them into office to listen to their constitutional requirement of the president delivering his State of the Nation address to Parliament. But as the president indicated, it's a sign of things to come. Nature abhors a vacuum. They would also stage a walkout in the 2020 December polls, and we will occupy the entire space on the House in the country. After all, as the president indicated, what they were unable to do in their 16 years in power, we have done in 3 years. And so the government and people, the government is in very solid hands, focused, dynamic. We are delivering on our mandate to the Ghanaian people. They've shown clearly that they are completely clueless when it comes to governance. They are totally visionless when it comes to delivering on a policy for growing this economy and steering the affairs of state. It's not for me to say, but the people of Ghana are witnesses to it. Now, if indeed the president has said something offensive, which they were reacting to, it would have been understood. But staging a walkout, which is uncalled for, totally without reason, it looks as if they've taken leave of their senses, excuse me to say, particularly when their leadership also indulges in this completely unnecessary and senseless exercise.
Now on their reasoning, they will be speaking at 1 p.m., but we have got some indication from them that your ministry may be passed. They name the closure of radio stations as a sign that your government is undemocratic, among other reasons, that your government is undemocratic.
The law says, and they've tested the law in all the courts in the Electronic Communications Tribunal and lost. They filed matters before the court and discontinued those matters. How is it undemocratic? You are enjoined. There are rules governing the conduct of every activity in this country. We have laws passed by this House, which they, as lawmakers, ought to respect. So if you have a radio station which has been operating for 16 years without renewing its authorization, and it is shut down in accordance to law, you take it to the tribunal, and the tribunal says the NCA was right in what it is doing. You attempt it in court and you are thrown out. How is it undemocratic?
In the case
do they believe in the enforcement of our laws or not? You cannot pick and choose which laws to enforce when it suits you. Laws passed by this House, and we all swore an oath to respect and obey the Constitution and the laws of this land. Are they telling us that they will respect the laws that they are comfortable with, and what they are not comfortable with? They have no business being legislators if that is their attitude to the governance of this country. That's why I'm saying they're totally clueless, visionless, directionless, and purposeless and obviously leaderless and rudderless. They have no idea what it means to govern this country. If they are legislators worth their salt, they will uphold the Constitution and the laws of this land in its entirety.
In the spirit of upholding the Constitution, I've heard your chief whip mention that you will not allow the minority to take part in the debate of the State of the Nation.
What would they be debating?
Is that also not lawless?
What would they be debating?
But the principle is...
What will they be debating?
The principle...
No, they boycotted the presentation of the State of the Nation.
But it's
so
not
exactly
your
what would they be debating? It is the duty of the Speaker to regulate the conduct of activities in the House.
Not the majority.
It is up to the Speaker to rule upon it.
That members of your side have said that they will not allow, they will make sure that the minority side does not debate.
What will they be debating? That's the point I'm asking.
The question is it lawful?
You were
the
not
question
part
I am
of
asking
the
is it lawful?
presentation of the State of the Nation address. You didn't deem it worth your time to sit and listen to it. What moral right? What right do you have to go and debate matters you heard outside the chamber, reported by the media when you were not there? This message was supposed to be presented before you. You choose to abdicate your responsibility. They should do the noble and the honorable thing and follow through this path that they have embarked on to its logical conclusion. If I were there,
my question remains unanswered.
They should boycott the debate as well.
My question remains unanswered. Is it lawful?
No, I'm saying that conduct of affairs in the House are in the bosom of the Speaker, and he rules on it. Our leader has made a plea to the Speaker that if they were not here, they not be allowed to take part in the debate. It is up to the Speaker to determine whether they are allowed to take part in the debate or not. But if they attempt it, they will see us in the House.
They will see you do what?
But as the President said, we are ready. And we've accepted the mantle that they've thrown down. They are not prepared to be part of their business in the House. We are ready, come 7 December, to wrestle every single seat and make sure that an MPP member of Parliament occupies that seat. As the good book says, wherever we plant our feet, the Lord will deliver it into our hands.
They will see you do what?
Today, I sat on an MPP NDC seat in Parliament. I pray that the Lord will deliver every seat that we occupy today into the hands of the new Patriotic Party parliamentary candidates contesting in that area.
Asla Uswokufu there, she is Minister for Communication. Certainly some explosive words she has for the minority there. Visionless, purposeless, leaderless. The other one she asked, rudderless or rudderless. Do you understand that word? You don't know. Well, maybe subsequently we'll get her to tell us what she actually means. So let's wrap up before you go. You're talking to me about Galamsey, which is one of the things that jumps at you after the president's speech. Wrap up on that one.
Like I said, I think he generally touched on the efforts that is being played. He started by jabbing the opposition party, and at the end of the day, I think he could have given more details on the steps that his office is taking, because mind you, the interministerial committee directly is supervised by the office of the president, is taking to make sure that some of the challenges that have gone on with their work, which is in public space, would not repeat itself and would be done, because the people who have been caught in that web are still at post. Because in the corruption, when he came to the corruption, he said, give us the evidence and we will deal with it. I mean, there are some instances where evidence have been given. We've seen video evidence and what have you, and his office has either not done anything about it or come out to say that I don't think that the evidence is strong enough. And so I saw a little bit of contradiction between that and when it comes to the fight on corruption and what has happened with the Galamsey situation. I also noticed when it came to the, like you mentioned, the international relations, he came into the relationship with China. Yeah. And then he
actually started with Nigeria.
Yes, talking about the ECOWAS, why they blocked their borders. I have my views, which are quite legal on that scenario, so I'll just leave it.
You can share. You can share your views. The Nigerian closure of the border
and the after, which he mentioned. For me, I think it's, if you look at it carefully, it may be we may have been taking 2 steps ahead before actually getting to that stage. Because as we stand now, there's an ECOWAS protocol, which all members of ECOWAS are supposed to, comply with, which will not allow Nigeria to take the stand that they have taken unless they justify it. But because of the economic imbalance in terms of the strength of both the countries, if Nigeria coughs in West Africa, every other country, catches cold. And so we are all silent and hoping that Nigeria would change. And they say that, for instance, I've had situations where you'd have Nigerians coming to Ghana to do business, and they would have to comply with the minimum capital requirements, even though they are members of the ECOWAS. And they think that because of the ECOWAS protocols, they are not supposed to be treated as foreigners per se. But we don't enforce that. And so Nigeria also has the basis to say, okay, we are also protecting our economy, the same way you say you are protecting your economy. Now, when he spoke about this, I did not hear him, and I stand to be corrected, speak about the Guta treatment of Nigerian traders in Ghana. Because you are saying that Nigeria...
The closure of their shops.
Yes, I mean, so even though Nigeria has not come out directly to say, well, Nigeria is doing what they are doing as a reprisal or as a reaction.
Well, Nigeria has actually said that it has nothing to do with that. They've said this is targeted at smugglers in Benin, especially.
But we know that across the West African continent, region, it is Ghana that is suffering the most. Because if you look at the trade volumes, it's between Ghana and Nigeria. So maybe for all the imports that go by road to Nigeria, I dare say more than 60% would come from Ghana. So even though you are closing the border between Benin and Nigeria, how many Ghanaian truck drivers were stuck along the border?
A lot. And I was at the border myself. A lot of trucks were stuck.
So the country that would have lost, or that Nigeria knew would lose most is Ghana. And so I would be very surprised Nigeria would say that, well, we didn't target Ghana, but in effect it is Ghana that is suffering. And I was expecting the president to touch on the Guta aspect, particularly when he spoke about Ghana's relationship with other countries. I was happy that he said Ghana is committed to help the West African countries experience, or the sub-region experience peace and contribute to the fight against terrorism. I was expecting a little more details with respect to the steps that the government of Ghana, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Ministry of Health would take to help Ghanaians, students and business people stuck in China now in respect of the coronavirus. He just made a blanket statement without giving much details, particularly when we've heard news from the ministry that are not, very comfortable to the ears of people who have children and with blood relations or relatives stuck up in China. I was hoping that he would use the opportunity to give details of what the government is doing, merely saying that we have offered to give them money. I heard a parent say that what are they going to use the money for when you cannot go out to buy food?
I think that the point that he also makes is people are trying to score political point with something that's a health threat, a global health threat.
Well, that is why I said that I have heard on your platform and other media platforms, parents or students who are stuck up there. I don't think that they spoke as people belonging to the NDC or the CPP. They have their children there. They have family. We've heard the former NUCS or the president of the Ghanaian students in China speak to these things. And he says that, listen, it is the truth. People cannot go out to buy food. Food is brought to them. So it's not necessarily the money. And why is government not exploring the option of evacuating these people? We've not seen him give reasons why that is not on the table now.
Right. He says evacuation is not on the table. And I think like yesterday, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs actually came out with a statement. The minister herself was speaking about why it is not possible. They said that experts have advised that that should not be done at the moment. And the president today mentions why they're trying to avoid dissemination of fear and panic by bringing those people in at this time. Does that not suffice?
I don't think so. Listen, we have a situation where if these people are brought in, we have a quarantine system. There are people who have come from that part of the world to other countries in Europe that have been quarantined. If we have an effective quarantine system, I understand that the virus would show symptoms within 14 days or 21 days.
Which is still being explored. It's still a fact about the virus which is still being explored because this is a new virus and there's still a lot of research. So we can, I mean, if the people, well, it's a decision that they have taken. But if you hear the parents speak,
I think that they are very desperate. And it's easier knowing that your child or your ward is closer to home. And the parents, I've heard some of them on radio say they are ready to pay the cost of even the evacuation and the quarantine, but well, they say it's off the table.
Okay, so we have just a few minutes to wrap up. MFR Powell and Evans Mensah will be taking over from here. I want us to, I know that you may still want to go into the details, but looking at what the minority did today, walking out of Parliament, do you get the sense, based on the discussions we've had, post-discussions we've had so far, that the minority, in the quest to make a statement by walking out, that they've actually sort of shot themselves in the foot? I mean, where do you stand? Is it just a right chance to make that statement, or did they shoot themselves in the foot?
I think they missed a very huge opportunity to show the nationalistic side of the House. Like I said earlier, that this is a national event. He's the president of Ghana, not the president of the MPP. It's just as they saying that, you know, I think during the swearing in of President John Mahama, after the 2012 election, there was discussion of whether the MPP should boycott the whole event. And I was of the opinion that it's a national event. You can do whatever you want to do, but when it comes to representing the nation, you must put party differences aside. They could have still made their point. They could have still held their press conference after the president had delivered his speech. But you do not walk out like that and go and say, I think they missed an opportunity. Okay. And they owe Ghanaians, they owe their constituents an apology. But they have a press conference at 1. Let's see what they are going to tell us. All right.
I don't know if what your thoughts are about the debates, because the majority is indicating that they're putting in every effort to stop them
I don't think that they would have any legal basis. I mean, it's the Speaker of Parliament who chooses who decides to speak. And I know per the standing orders, it goes both ways. And so if somebody from the minority decides to get up, I do not see how the Speaker of Parliament would say, I will not hear you.
No legal basis for that.
I do not see how.
A matter of discretion for the Speaker of Parliament, but we see how all of that bounces off. Bobby Banson is a legal practitioner who joined us from 10 a.m. We've been doing this since then. We're still live here on JoyNews, on your multi-TV and on your digital TV platform. We're also on Joy 99.7 FM. It's been the State of the Nation address. Like we said, share with us your thoughts. What are your own thoughts? What is your State of the Nation? MFR Apau and Evans Mensah will be here to have a lot more of that very interesting fallout from this State of the Nation address. My name is Gifty Ando Apia, and it's been a great time being with you. Do stay for MFR and Evans Mensah.